Hey guys, welcome back to week number 12 of the Sharp Goat Photo Challenge. Thank you for pressing play, giving us a listen. To those who submitted, thank you very much for sending in your macro shots for this week's macro challenge. And for those who are just watching, picking up some photography tips or just kind of curious, a little photo curious, wondering if they should get involved in the challenge, please do. If you want some more information on the challenge, head on over to sharpgoat.com/blog to see how you can get involved. Updates on the challenge go up there. This next week's challenge is going to be challenge number 13, shadowplay. So we're going to be looking at what can be done with shadows, either those created naturally by the sun or those that you create on your own. I'm looking for some creativity, especially seeing as how if you're in my neck of the woods for the next week, the sun won't be shining very much for the next week. It's supposed to rain all week, but hence the word challenge. So I want people to get creative with what they can see with shadows outside, inside, all over the place. It can be done, so I implore you to do it. So if you're here to check out some of the critiques for this week's macro shots, stay tuned and enjoy. And hello, Melissa Hughes. Thank you for coming on back for this week. Let's take a look what you got. I have a macro lens, but 70mm at 38 centimeters doesn't really make tiny things big. So I found my old 28 to 80mm and flipped her around, free lens these images. Fantastic job. You took my advice that over on the Sharp Goat blog, there was the advice that you can flip your lens around. If you don't have a macro lens, just flip your regular lens around, and it doesn't attach to the camera. So that's, I guess, what it's called, free lensing. You just kind of hang it there, but you can get some pretty wicked shots. Only that available is shutter speed and ISO. The rest was manual and trying to find that sweet spot. Right, I didn't think about that. Won't get any of the lens data, but that's okay. So let's take a look at this first shot. Cool, love it. Blurry out of focus, which some may say that's not a good thing, but it is kind of gorgeous to look at because it's abstract, and it's a surreal, up close and personal shot of a flower. It reminds me of American Beauty quite a bit. A tiny rose is about the size of a toonie. Toonie. That's a funny spelling of that. Yeah, that's a very cool shot. I like that. It again, it's got the surreal aspect to it. It's kind of dreamy. I like it. And look in here. Look at the fine detail you're getting on these tiny little hairs here. That's beautiful. Cool. Up close, I have no idea what that is. The bud of some sort of plant. Macro shots tend to be of plants. They're usually very cool things to look at very up close. Yeah, I dig that. And again, you're freelancing, which makes it incredibly difficult where that focus lands, because especially if you're handheld, any slight movement whatsoever is going to affect the focus. It's going to shift it all over the place. It's so very fine. So you kind of just have to take what you get and take multiple shots. But this one looks like you got focus right on the money, right in the front here. So again, and look how nice and blown out this is. I almost like the freelance look a lot better. It's kind of like throwing a filter on it, but not. It's this in-lens effect where you get this almost like a tilt shift effect. Such a narrow depth of field right on the tip of this small object here. I like it. Another tiny rosebud about the size of a dime. Cool. Not as good as the last one. Last one I like here. And again, this is there's more interpretation going into these shots because they are macro, they're up close, and plus also if you're flipping the lens around, they're going to have a bit of a funky look. But yeah, this one was strong. This one not so much. It kind of reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors. Anyways, back on track. Yeah, just because the focus is blurry right here, it's not as strong. This one's much stronger, I think. My son's big toe. All right. I love how all right. Went from, nice colorful beauty right here to boom, toe jam. All right. And again, look at all the little detail you can see here. It's like putting something under a microscope. You never know what you see until you really stare at it up close. And that's a really cool thing to just get really up close on. You see lots of fine detail here, and it almost seems like I almost wish I didn't see the descriptions, because it would be very cool to see if I could figure out what it is I'm looking at before just to figure out what I'm looking at. But very cool. A nice choice for the black and white. Yeah, I like it. So very, very good submissions, Melissa. I love this rose shot. That's my favorite this week. Yeah, it is, it is blurry, but it's surreal. It's dreamy. I could fall asleep just looking at it. It's great. So thank you very much for submitting, and we'll see you next week.